Hey, everybody, welcome to the Supernatural Beer Bros podcast. I'm your host, Andy, and I'm joined today by Ben down the San Diego way.
Hello.
And Ronnie up in Maine once again with the skeeters.
Cheers.
And the cicadas and the chirpers and all the other things that make noise.
Where can the good people find us, Andrew?
Yeah. Maine is basically a cold pine tree jungle.
Yep.
By jungle, I mean filled with insects that want to bite you.
Yep.
Yep.
Hey, they have an old saying here in Maine, if you can't take the winters, you don't deserve the summers.
Hey, the summers are remarkably mild. The winters are brutal, though.
They are brutal. I was out in the solar field all last winter. You want to talk about cold?
Makes you hardy, though.
It was 20, 30 below some days with the wind blowing. Sucks.
Eat up, men, and drink hearty, for tonight we dine in hell.
We dine in Saturn.
Yeah, you know what? Even with that 20, 30 below with the wind blowing, I bet the Spartans would still be out there with no clothes on, just a cape.
Probably. They did the same thing in the movie. Hey, if it's in the movies, it must be true. But the Battle of Thermopylae was a real event, and it did happen. And I'm actually convinced the Spartans only lost that battle because they were betrayed.
Well, that's exactly what happened.
But just the depiction of the Spartans there were, as far as the equipment that they wore and used, was not super accurate. Spartans wore a bronze breastplate as well as other armor, where in the movie they just went bare-chested to show off their abs like they were cool.
Well, it's like what Unitas said. He said, I'm not going to war. I want to stretch my legs, and this is my personal guard.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, though? Spartan hoplites wore a significant amount of armor.
The sea is foamy.
Yeah, anyway, we're not talking about anything.
So the
supernatural, right?
Persians walk up and they say, Spartans, lay down your weapons. And the Spartans say,
Hey, for supernatural, we could talk about the Persian immortals, where they had their teeth ground to fangs and all that
and
other
the dude's got his fucking sword like halfway in the dude's neck, and he's just going, on the guy's face and shit.
Yeah, as if that's possible at all. That guy would have been gurgling on his own blood, not making any real noise but gurgles.
All right, so today we're talking about time travel.
Oh boy. Time travel is a fun topic.
What do you think about that?
Now, are we going to talk about time travel, like, generally, like, how it's done, or, whatever? Or are we going to talk about specific time travelers, supposedly?
A little bit of everything.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Captain.
What do you think about time travel, Ben?
I wish I could do it, because there are certain historical events that I would go back in time and help change.
Where was I going to start?
Would you pull a Guns of the South, Ben, and go back and give the Confederate Army AK-47s?
Yeah, I would pull a Guns of the South, but for Constantinople, I would give Constantinople 50 cal mounts, and also give them
155 millimeter howitzers and
A-10 Warthogs, and then there'd still be a Constantinople today.
Time travel. 5 ways that we could do it. Travel to the past is probably impossible.
Ooh.
But are there ways to time travel into the future?
If you can travel into the future, you can travel into the past, because they all exist. Past, present, future all exist simultaneously on different planes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's possible.
So if it's possible one way, it's possible the other way too.
I think if you can travel faster than light, you could travel into the past.
Right. Traveling faster than light should rewind time, because traveling at the speed of light, time stops for you.
Yep. And we're talking relative time, like Einstein's theory of relativity. Like time, speed is relative. Relative.
All right, let's hear it. Five possible.
So, number 1, time travel via speed. This is the easiest and most practical way to time travel into the far future. Go really, really fast. According to Einstein's theory of special relativity, when you travel at speeds approaching the speed of light, time slows down for you relative to the outside world. This is not that's a typo, must be. So this is not just a conjecture or thought experiment. It's been measured using twin atomic clocks. One flown in a jet aircraft, the other stationary on Earth. Physicists have shown that a flying clock ticks slower because of its speed. In the case of the aircraft, the effect is minuscule, but if you were in a spaceship traveling at 90% of the speed of light, you'd experience time passing about 2.6 times slower than it was back on Earth. And the closer you get to the speed of light, the more extreme the time travel. The highest speeds achieved through any human technology are probably the protons whizzing around the Large Hadron Collider at CERN at 99.9999991% of the speed of light. Using special relativity, we can calculate 1 second for the proton is equivalent to 27,777,778 seconds, or about 11 months for us.
Interesting.
So the proton they shoot around the collider is experiencing a second, right? And we're experiencing 11 months. That's weird. So is that when they shoot something, when they fire the Hadron Collider, is that how long it takes to get results? 11 months?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That's weird.
I don't know much about it except conspiracy theories that have come out about it.
Oh, you mean like they fired it and created a black hole in 2012 and we all got sucked into it? And then we all died and we were transformed into an alternate reality where we survived?
Or that they fired it and they opened a portal to another dimension and evil demonic beings came through the portal.
And they're still coming through and they don't know how to
open and
close
they
it?
can't close it. Yeah.
That's a possibility as well. So amazingly, particle physicists have to take this time dilation into account when they are dealing with particles that decay. In the lab, muon M-U-O-N particles typically decay in 2.2 microseconds, but fast-moving murons, such as those created when cosmic rays strike the upper atmosphere, take 10 times longer to disintegrate.
Hey, Andy, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but have you ever listened to the podcast Conspiracy Theories in Unpopular Culture by Isaac Weishaupt?
That damn Sasquatch.
No, I haven't.
Have you ever listened? You haven't?
No.
So he says it all the time, like when he's talking about like CERN and the people that are trying to do all these different things that are, have really dangerous implications for the planet and the human race. He says, then I keep telling you guys, the nerds are going to kill us all. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know, like they're kind of like the people that do this podcast are kind of they're pretty left leaning, but they're funny, and that's why I've listened to them. It's called Last Podcast on the Left. Now, their attitude is about the same. They say overzealous nerds are the bane of humanity.
Yep.
And they said Hitler was an overzealous nerd.
Well, he was. I mean, the guy was a failed painter.
Yeah, and he was obsessed with the occult and like strange fucking mystical artifacts and symbols and all that shit.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
into all of that stuff.
Here's why I think that's actually a pretty fair statement, because you look at a lot of these people who probably participate in these sorts of events or experiments is like, to be fair, a disproportionate number of them probably have no families of their own, and they also have probably no like belief in an afterlife.
Well, they probably never even got laid.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Probably
So what I'm getting at is they basically have nothing to lose should things go awry and go wrong. Like,
Especially with those like birth control glasses they have on with like the tape in the middle, like taping them together.
but what I mean is, like, if like, for example, the CERN conspiracy theories had been true, and like the Earth was devoured because of the experiment, like they wouldn't give a fuck, because they don't have kids, they don't have family for them at home. They're
Right.
just doing their job. So I think that's
If anybody
actually
out there, if you ever see like some guy with like taped up glasses and a pocket protector walking around just kind of casually, eye him with suspicion. He's up to something.
Yeah, he's got those big Steve Urkel glasses on and a pocket protector.
Right. Hey, Bongino says it all the time. Smart, dumb people are going to destroy this country.
Smart, dumb people.
Yep. Yep. He says it all the time.
So what's numero dos?
Numero dos. Time travel via gravity. So the next method of time travel is also inspired by Einstein. According to his theory of general relativity, the stronger the gravity you feel, the slower time moves. So as you get closer to the center of Earth, for example, the strength of gravity increases. Time runs slower for your feet than your head. Oh, that could create a problem. So again, this effect has been measured. In 2010, physicists at the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology placed 2 atomic clocks on shelves, one 33 centimeters above the other, and measured the difference in their rate of ticking. The lower one ticked slower because it feels a slightly stronger gravity.
So you're saying that your lower body and your upper body could end up in 2 separate places in space-time?
Yeah, that could present a problem.
Right?
So
Your torso up ends up one place and your legs and feet end up in another.
Your dick's in ancient Egypt and your head's in like old Rome or something.
Right?
So, to travel to the far future, all we need is a region of extremely strong gravity, such as a black hole. The closer you get to the event horizon, the slower time moves. But it's risky business. Cross the boundary, and you can never escape. And anyway, the effect is not that strong, so it's probably not worth the trip. Assuming you had the technology to travel the vast distances to reach a black hole, the nearest is about 3,000 light years away. The time dilation through traveling would be far greater than any time dilation through orbiting the black hole itself. The situation described in the movie Interstellar, where 1 hour on a planet near a black hole is equivalent of 7 years back on Earth is so extreme as to be impossible in our universe, according to Kip Thorne, the movie's scientific advisor. The most mind blowing thing, perhaps, is that GPS systems have to account for time dilation effects. Is that true?
Most likely.
So, due to both the speed of the satellites and the gravity they feel in order to work. Without those corrections, your phone's GPS capability wouldn't be able to pinpoint your location on Earth to within even a few kilometers. So they've actually worked this out to mathematical calculations where they can adjust, where their satellites, the GPS satellites, can adjust for time dilation. I had no idea.
That's interesting.
It is very interesting.
I mean, I'm just reading right now that, like for example, at the International Space Station, time goes slower, lagging approximately 0.01 seconds for every 12 Earth months passed. Obviously, that's not a huge difference, but time just actually does go slower at the International Space Station, for example. And as you were just discussing, for GPS satellites to work, they must adjust for similar bending of space-time to coordinate properly with systems on Earth.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The more you know.
Truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
Oh, most people have no idea how strange the actual truth gets.
Numero tres. Time travel via suspended animation. Cryogenic freezing. So another way to time travel to the future may be to slow your perception of time by slowing down or stopping your bodily processes and then restarting them later. Bacterial spores can live for millions of years in a state of suspended animation until the right conditions of temperature, moisture, food kickstart their metabolisms again. Some mammals, such as bears and squirrels, can slow their metabolism during hibernation, dramatically reducing their cells' requirement for food and oxygen. Could humans
Frogs too, Andy.
Could humans ever do the same?
You know, frogs when you come into winter, some species of frogs will burrow into the lake bed or the bed of the pond.
Hey, they say
they'll basically stop their heart. They almost stop it. And like some frogs, they'll freeze solid. And when they thaw out in the spring, they'll come back to life.
Well, not me. I just use my ninja training to slow my heart rate. Make people think I'm dead. And they bury me, and then I rise from the ground like a zombie. Ah! Zombie! Get away from me, zombie. So, though completely stopping your metabolism is probably far beyond our current technology, some scientists are working towards achieving inducing a short-term hibernation state lasting at least a few hours. This might be just enough time to get a person through a medical emergency, such as a cardiac arrest, before they can reach the hospital. So the paramedics are going to show up and just like spray you down with liquid nitrogen.
And flash freeze you right there.
Right? And then they'll throw you in a big fucking fucking styrofoam cooler and take you to the hospital. On dry ice.
Talk about freezer burn.
Right?
Isn't Walt Disney? Isn't he cryogenically frozen?
Yeah, I was gonna say that earlier. They supposedly they froze his head. Like they literally, his head is sitting inside of a vat of liquid nitrogen.
How did the Soviets preserve Lenin?
They embalmed him, but they did it much more advanced than the Egyptians.
Yeah, I was gonna say because they did a really good job. They perfectly preserved him.
Yeah, he looks like a wax statue.
Well, that's one thing for the Soviet to be said about the Soviets is that they were like fanatically devoted to scientific processes. So
Hmm.
like they probably studied that rigorously and applied the principles to that process rigorously for preserving Lenin.
Yep. So
Numéro 4.
we're not there yet. In 2005, American scientists demonstrated a way to slow the metabolism of mice, which do not hibernate, by exposing them to minute doses of hydrogen sulfide, which binds to the same cell receptors as oxygen. I can see where that could be dangerous. The core temperature of the mice dropped to 13 Celsius, and metabolism decreased tenfold. After 6 hours, the mice could be reanimated without ill effects. Unfortunately, similar experiments on sheep and pigs were not successful, suggesting the method might not work for larger animals. Another
Or more
method which
complex
includes
animals like people.
Another method, which includes a hypothermic hibernation by replacing the blood with a cold saline solution, has worked on pigs and is currently undergoing human clinical trials in Pittsburgh. So they're cooling saline solution down almost to the point of freezing and replacing your blood with it.
Now, what are they doing this with people? Human. Okay, so human clinical trials. Now, this is something where if it doesn't work, it'll probably kill the subject. So this would probably have to be somebody who's got a terminal illness already and donated their body to science when they die, but just decided, hey, I'll do it now for science.
Well, it's probably somebody in so much pain they don't want to live anymore anyway,
Could be.
right? So
I'm just saying they'd never get away with clinical trials that are murdering everybody they try it on, but they keep doing it.
well, what they said was it worked on pigs, and pigs metabolically and you know, they're very similar to humans as far as their their body chemistry and shit. So
Yeah, even
if it
human
works on
mutations might
pigs,
work.
I learned that from Gangs of New York.
if it works on pigs, it's reasonable to think it would work on people. So
Most likely.
time
What you're
travel,
saying is we could make bacon out of people.
yeah. You just find some fatty and you just tell him, he's like, you better shut your mouth or I'll cut some bacon off your back.
Except I'm pretty sure the bacon's on like the underside or the flanks, but
Well,
yeah,
whatever.
anyway.
I don't care where it comes from. So, numero cuatro, time travel via wormholes. General relativity also allows for the possibility of shortcuts through space-time known as wormholes, which might be able to bridge distances of 1 billion light years or more, or different points in time. Many physicists, including Stephen Hawking, believe wormholes are constantly popping in and out of existence at the quantum scale, far smaller than atoms. The trick would be to capture one and inflate it to human scales.
Capture it.
A feat that would require a huge amount of energy, but which might just be possible in theory. Attempts to prove this either way have failed, ultimately because of the incompatibility between general relativity and quantum mechanics. Yep.
Damn, that's some wild talk.
Now, see, the incompatibility between general relativity and quantum mechanics is the same as the incompatibility with creationism and evolution.
Yep.
Just because they do coincide. I think it's a mixture of the two.
Well,
Neither
I mean,
one is 100% right.
like
But
what you said earlier about past, present, and future all existing simultaneously, that's quantum mechanics, quantum theory,
right,
where relativity is
is linear.
linear based on, our human construct of a timeline. So, of course, they're not going to match and they're not going to work together. But that's not saying that relativity is wrong. And it's not saying that quantum physics is wrong. They just don't exist or work together. Two completely different sets of rules existing simultaneously side by side. Interdimensional. Maybe in another dimension, quantum physics doesn't work, doesn't exist. Or maybe even in this one, there's only relativity. Or then in other dimensions, maybe relativity doesn't exist and there's only quantum.
And then in other dimensions, there's no physical matter, just light and energy.
That's a possibility as well. So, number 5, time travel using light. Another time travel idea put forward by the American physicist Ron Mallett is to use a rotating cylinder of light to twist space-time. Anything dropped inside the swirling cylinder could theoretically be dragged around in space and time in a similar way to how a bubble runs around on top of your coffee after you swirl it with a spoon. According to Mallett, the right geometry could lead to time travel into either the past or the future. Since publishing his theory in the year 2000, Mallett has been trying to raise the funds to pay for a proof of concept experiment, which involves dropping neutrons through a circular arrangement of spinning lasers. His ideas have not grabbed the rest of the physics community, however, with others arguing that one of the assumptions of his basic model is plagued by a singularity, which is physics speak for it's impossible.
Nothing is impossible.
I think that last one was probably the most likely. It doesn't require us to travel at the speed of light. It doesn't require us to journey to a black hole or to the center of the earth.
It doesn't require us to produce a huge amount of energy to be able to actually bend space-time.
Yep. So, where are we at? All right. How about evidence of time travelers? Now, this picture I can tell right away is bullshit. You got Marilyn Monroe here, and you got some lady supposedly with some type of a newfangled camera or a cell phone. But in any of this space, where does this guy pissing come into the equation? He's clearly taking a piss.
Even a guy? I thought that was it kind of looks like an old lady in a church hat.
Looks like a guy holding his wanker. Now, where is he in this picture?
Yeah, that's just
it's a clear
garbage.
reflection. You don't see a reflection of either one of these two in that mirror, as far as I can tell. I mean, there's nothing visible of her, at least. I mean, her reflection is probably directly behind her, but her? You should be able to see her on this mirror somewhere.
Most likely.
Close to here, anyways. I see no evidence of her anywhere. Reflection.
Nope.
So this picture is straight bullshit, so we'll just skip this one.
Anorexic.
Nicolas Cage.
That one is pretty Interesting. They do look very similar.
I don't know, the man on the right, his nose looks a little more crooked.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage has a
Man
longer
on the
face.
right, are you talking about this one? Because he's on the left for me.
My bad. Yeah, no, left. I should have said left.
Okay.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage has a longer
You
face.
are dumb, Private Pile, but do you expect me to believe that you don't know left from right?
And you did that on purpose. You want to be different.
What side was that, Private Pile? Sir, right side, sir. Are you sure, Private Pile?
Like
What side was that, Private Pile?
the ears look different. I don't know. I feel like the chin looks different, especially it seems like man on the left has a
Well, you
dimple
never
on
know.
his chin.
This version of Nicolas Cage has probably had several plastic surgeries.
That's true. Fair enough.
That Nicolas Cage could be a reincarnation of whoever that guy is.
Or a distant relative.
Yeah, I mean,
Direct line.
Yeah, it's probably could be an ancestor, and obviously
But
there's going to be.
Just hold your reservations because there's so many more examples. I'm gonna move on down the line. Cell phone on set. Now this picture, I don't see a phone. I see someone wearing some type of trench coat.
Well, you look at.
I see a hand up to the side
up
of
by
her
his face.
But if you remember, you remember in the old cartoons where the old man can't hear what somebody's saying, so he has a little horn he holds up,
like from the Patriot.
Yeah. What do you say? Right? That's possibly what that person has. Something like that.
Or she's adjusting her hair or her hat.
Or maybe it's windy and she's holding onto her hat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, did they zoom in? Did they show the hand closer?
Yeah.
They don't.
Can you see a physical cell phone there? I can't.
I don't. Yeah, this picture.
I know the description should say something like.
Now this picture is convincing.
I've seen this picture before.
A time-traveling hipster. So this picture was taken in the 40s. Now, it's been proven this picture has not been photoshopped. This guy was there.
Huh. Well, it looks like he has a Texas Longhorn shirt.
Looks like it, or a Wonder Woman shirt.
Wonder Woman shirt.
But
oh wait, no, never mind. That looks like an M. My bad. I thought that was now it looks like an M.
It could be a W also, but
yeah.
But but I mean, it's already been debunked. The argument that it was photoshopped because it wasn't.
So the argument claiming it was photoshopped was debunked, is what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, just so I understand.
This was not photoshopped. This is an actual picture.
He's definitely not in period attire. So
these glasses he's wearing kind of look like the old type glasses or goggles like people riding like the old motorcycles would wear. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it kind of looks like what Doc Brown was wearing in Back to the Future.
Yeah. But his hairstyle, this looks like a hoodie. Maybe.
Well, his hairstyle could be from the time period. I mean, that's not out of possibility.
Yeah, but his clothes though. Nobody else around him looks like a friggin' street bum.
Everyone around him is dressed up, and he is in rags.
That's one hell of a V-neck.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that, but
that V-neck goes down to like his navel.
Yeah, he's definitely wearing some type of T-shirt underneath, with a graphic on it, and nobody else is wearing anything remotely like that in this picture.
Did graphic tees exist in the 40s?
No.
No, I don't think so. So
most people, I'm sure, wore clothes with buttons on them.
Yeah. So This is a legitimate picture, but I don't really know what to make of it. Time traveler, possibly.
Well, because it doesn't help because the source who provided it is unknown.
Or
apparently.
it could also be a glitch in the matrix.
Or it could be a man ahead of his time.
Yeah, I mean, look, these designs and styles come from one person usually who starts a trend. So, but no, just the style of dress is very peculiar.
All right. The famous Mike Tyson fight. This is 19-year-old Mike Tyson. And this is the
Damn.
man in the background with a cell phone recording him.
Right. So that would have been the 80s, right?
Yeah, this is way
Early
before
90s.
smartphones with
I think
cameras.
early 90s, right?
When Tyson was fighting in his prime,
When he won his title. Late 80s, early 90s.
yeah, somewhere in that time frame. I don't
Yeah,
remember
so
exactly, but
you can see clearly this is the size of your average cell phone today. And you see the camera right here.
That's bizarre.
Yep. This picture's famous. It's been around for a long time. A lot of people have been asking questions.
Well, they're saying 1990, 1995.
1995.
1995. So one of the biggest fights in boxing took place back in 1995. It featured one of the best known fighters of this era, Mike Tyson. However, during a certain segment of the fight, a crowd member can be seen in the background holding what seems to be a smartphone with a camera. While some mobile devices were made back then, they certainly didn't have a camera installed in them.
Yep. This is interesting.
Yep. Matthew McConaughey. Oh, just Matthew McConaughey with a handlebar mustache.
Um, I mean, no. Again, like, could be some blood connection. Like, like it seems like these people don't understand what genealogy is.
They do look very similar.
Yeah, so he could be like his second great grandfather from that time period.
So the story for this
Like,
one.
like, I'm not impressed with these. Like, ooh, look at this vintage photo of a guy who looks like him.
You may know Mr. McConaughey from his many five-star films, in which he plays a smooth, class older man. However, you may not realize that he is also a time traveler. And no, this isn't some sort of strange fan fiction based on his film Interstellar. A Reddit user uploaded a photo of one of their relatives they found in an old box of photos and noticed the striking resemblance to McConaughey. While the Reddit post simply says, my great grandfather looks like Matthew McConaughey," many speculators and commenters on the post started to see too much of a resemblance and claimed that Matthew was a time traveler. I mean, there is a resemblance, but
Not that much.
this version looks like a much younger version than this version. Even though there is that mustache that needs to go.
All right, all right.
Yep. All right, front row picture. So, what do you make of that, Ben? What is that?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not.
That could be photoshopped in
Yeah, honestly, that looks a little too
that one.
unorganic with the scene.
The picture was taken in 1962 during a FIFA World Cup and shows the winner proudly holding up their prize trophy. However, if you look closer in the front row, you can see someone in the crowd holding up what appears to be a flip phone, capturing the moment on camera. While the photo is convincing, it was simply a trick of the eye due to the angle at which the photo above was taken. It makes it appear as a flip phone. It makes you think that when people see old pictures like this and see technology, they immediately assume it's time travel. However, if you were a smart time traveler, you'd bring a higher quality camera, like an iPhone or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe there's a time traveler's guide we should brush up on. The time traveling iPhone. Doesn't look like an iPhone. I see nothing in this picture that would lead me to believe that she's holding an iPhone.
Yeah, if
that's
anything, that's one of those giant fucking Nokias.
Yeah, the brick phone.
Yeah,
The one you can run over with a dump truck and it would still work.
that doesn't look like anything like an iPhone. Even the older iPhones.
But when this picture was taken, even those old style Nokias would be advanced technology. This was taken in the late 30s.
yeah, that's not too impressive.
Astronaut sculpture proves time travel. Now check this out. Okay. This cathedral home in Salamanca, I don't know where that is,
I think it's great.
boasts a large sculpture of an astronaut in one of its walls. Now, check this out. You got the helmet, you got the whole spacesuit, including that thing on the front, and look at the tread on the boots. It is identical to the tread left on the boot prints for the moon landing.
Yep.
Literally.
That one's a little more convincing.
This says it was built in the late 1700s. So where did they get this kind of detail?
Look, he's even got a cargo pocket or something on the
Yeah,
his
he does.
right leg.
Right there.
Wow.
Where did the sculptor get that kind of detail from? He must have seen something that inspired him. Because I mean, aside from all of this, the most intriguing part of this to me are the tread on that boot. Because that's literally, look. Let me find it. Moon landing boot print. Look at. What the hell? Look at the tread on the boot print. You see it?
Yep.
Right? Now, look at his boot.
Very similar.
This cannot be a coincidence.
Wow, that's spooky.
You see that? And I wasn't planning on bringing this up. I just thought of this right now when I saw his boot. You see that? There's no mistaking that. That is a fucking astronaut in a sculpture on a 1700s building.
Yeah, there's hieroglyphs in Egypt that depict things that look remarkably like helicopters, all kinds of shit.
Yeah, computers, bicycles, all kinds of stuff. Yep. Seen all that too. So, I mean, by far out of all the pictures we've looked at so far, this is the most interesting to me.
Yeah, well, it's either time travel's real or somebody somewhere at the time that was made had that type of technology and it was lost to them for a long time. But
Well, they said that this was built in the 1700s, so we know humans didn't have this technology in the 1700s. If we had this technology at all, it was thousands of years ago. Tens of thousands even. But even then, if it was tens of thousands of years ago when we had astronauts before, who's to say the boots looked identical to the moon landing boots in the 1960s?
yeah, it looks like the suit looks almost identical to the suit, the whole 1960s suit.
Yeah. I'm surprised there ain't a little NASA emblem on it right here.
Yeah,
Or on the arm
look
or
at
whatever.
Look on the helmet, Andy. The circle there. I bet there's one on the other side too. It could be like a flip for the visor,
Yep.
the sun visor.
That's crazy. Moving on. The game of time travel.
All dwarfs look alike anyway. You can't.
Peter Dinklage. He's not a dwarf, he's an imp.
They all look the same anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Down syndrome. They all look related, even though there's no relation.
Right.
We call them mongoloids.
Late night time travel.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with all that. Like it's an ancestor or similar
How about this one?
ethnic background.
This is uncanny. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, the chin's a little different, but other than that, they look fairly similar. His ears are bigger too. Eddie Murphy's ears.
Oh yeah,
ears
this
are a
guy's
lot
got
bigger.
tiny ears compared to this guy. Yeah. Yep. John Travolta.
Yeah, I don't like these comparison ones. Not a big fan of those.
Keanu Reeves.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean,
Absolutely.
considering it's being compared to a painting, I mean, yeah, I'm all set with that too.
I mean, I would more put it as a case for, reincarnation or something like that, more than I would put it as a case for, well, Keanu Reeves is actually from, the 1700s because he has a painting that looks like him.
Right.
I don't know.
So some guy on a beach in World War II, or slightly after, whatever, appears to be typing on a cell phone, but can't confirm. Too far away. Marilyn Monroe texting someone on a piece of paper she appears to be staring at.
Yeah, what? I mean, people are just making shit up.
Yeah, this is not a cell phone. No, this one's interesting. 1918 newspaper clipping confirms time traveler's death. Man found dead in a 2-foot-long space tube. Now, the body's in there, but what's that? In 1918.
This came out of a National Enquirer, didn't it?
I don't know.
The format just looks very Inquirer-like.
Yeah, it does, actually.
Like the next page probably has an article about Batboy meeting.
Look at the description. 1999, a magazine, go down, called Weekly World News.
You know what? That is one of the tabloid papers that you see on the friggin' grocery store.
Yep.
Yeah, Batboy.
Yep. Doesn't mean it's not true, though.
Nope, not necessarily.
San Joseph Bay, 1917. Man wearing a t-shirt and shorts with a mop of hair.
And he just looks way out of place in that picture.
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to say Photoshop on this one.
Yeah.
Well, that
guy does not look like he belongs in that picture at all.
He's just as blurry as everybody else around him. It doesn't look Photoshop to me. I mean, I see consistency here in the color and everything, even the shadows.
Maybe.
Yep.
He's the only person in that picture wearing a t-shirt and shorts.
Everybody else is wearing suits, hats, ties, everything. Interesting. No, that's dumb. So
I wonder if these people like went back in time to like clap ancient cheeks.
I thought I closed that one. All right. So
I'd go back to ancient Egypt and hit up Cleopatra.
Right? I mean, if she's anything like in the in that show Rome, then I'm sure she'd be a blast.
Yeah, she'd make you blast.
Exactly. All over her face. Yep. I'd be like this, like
You're hairy like animals. That damn Sasquatch.
yep.
You'd probably be like a Sasquatch to a lot of those people too, because the average height of a human being was a little smaller back then.
Yeah. I'd be like she'd be like, I want you now, and I'd be like,
No. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
and then followed quickly by
She also have like snakes around her neck.
all right.
And go back and see if Medusa was real and clap them cheeks too.
Just wear some sunglasses.
Yeah. Welding mask.
So, space soldiers. Time traveler claims giant 7-foot aliens will land on Earth in May of 2022. Only a couple days, actually, Tuesday. This next Tuesday. Huh.
I have so much to do. Okay.
Leading to interdimensional war with the United States.
Yeah, the United States is going to fight an interdimensional war all on its lonesome.
A self-proclaimed time traveler has wildly predicted that giant 7-foot aliens will land on Earth in May of 2022. He also claims that their arrival would lead to an interdimensional war. This group of aliens are called Neurons and come in peace and don't mean harm, but the U.S. attacks them anyway and begin the first of many interdimensional wars.
The neurons have oil.
They just refuse to let the U.S. clap their cheeks. So
the exact date that they are first sighted is May 24th, which is this coming Tuesday.
Hey, they came because they said they liked pegging and they heard that the U.S. was into that sort of thing.
Jesus. So, the text in the video wildly claims aliens will make their first appearance on Earth next year. Exact date, May 24th, 2022.
Well, we'll find out on Tuesday, Andy.
Yeah.
Make sure this is posted before Tuesday. So,
quote, from my time, there are many different aliens, and they actually live on Earth as citizens in the future. The time traveler claims the mythical creatures are called neurons and will come in peace. Neurons sounds remarkably close to morons.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, according to his predictions, the U.S. will attack the aliens, starting an interdimensional war. It has been shared more than 90,000 times and received more than 2,300 likes, which I believe was the goal. One TikTok user posted, "Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof." Wild claims. A second asked, "So, if you are a time traveler, why are you coming back here to tell us? Wouldn't you telling us change the future? All it takes is one small detail." TikTok users were left fascinated by the wild assertions and started asking several questions. The time traveler doesn't believe humans will win the first interdimensional war and says people can rent superpowers.
Yeah, you just go into your everyday appliance rental place and say, I want the ability, invisibility or something.
I want the ability to do a cock push-up.
Yeah, you just go into Rent a Center and get a superpower.
You ever see that movie Pick a Destiny, Ronnie? With Jack Black, Tenacious D?
Yeah.
He's like, to be a rock star, you got to do a cock push up.
Oh my God.
Oh, Ben bailed on us. I don't know what he's doing.
No,
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be back. Phone probably died.
Yeah, probably.
Let's get it going, Andy.
So TikTok user follow_for_follow 0.08 claims
His
the event
phone
would.
died.
Oh.
His phone died.
Oh, okay. I skipped that part. So it comes just days after TikTok time traveler predicted the world's biggest earthquake will hit California in 3 years' time. So 3 years from now, I guess. The world will be largest creature in the world. 2 years after he bizarrely claimed the largest creature in the world would be discovered. He warns his followers he should be taken seriously as he kicks off a clip explaining that he is a time traveler. According to his offbeat predictions, the first of the two events we should supposedly brace ourselves for is the apparent discovery of the Serene Croin monster next year. The fuck is a Serene Croin?
I have no idea.
Whatever. The clip shows a picture of Under the Sea and is paired with the caption 2022, the largest creature ever, the Serene Croin, is discovered. It is not made clear where this monster will be found nor what sort of creature it was.
But it definitely is going to get its friggin' cheeks clapped. So.
Would you clap its cheeks?
I'm sure the military will with a Tomahawk cruise missile.
So the second prediction is simply described as 2024 world's biggest earthquake hits San Ysidro, California.
San
Isidro, whatever. And another TikTok time traveler who claims to have visited from 2582 says the Earth will be plunged into darkness in 5 years' time. The mysterious man made the claims in a bizarre video where he has amassed over 630,000 followers. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds pretty thin.
It does.
But, I mean, aren't there like interdimensional rules to this sort of stuff about traveling through time to try to change the present? And I don't know.
Yeah. I would assume so.
You know, it's kind of like the what's it called in Star Trek? Like is it the Prime Law or Prime Rule?
Prime Directive.
Prime Directive. That's it.
But the Prime Directive refers to if you show up to a planet that already has intelligent life on it, you don't interfere. You don't interact or interfere. You just go away.
If it's more primitive than you.
Yeah, but with time travel, that's not even really related. I mean, if you go in the past and you change the future, you can create a paradox, which could destroy the entire universe, and that would be bad.
Where the entire universe and multiverse and parallel realities collapse in on each other and explode in a fiery glory.
Hell yeah. It actually sounds kind of fun for about 5 minutes.
for about 5 milliseconds.
Yeah, but if it's that quick, you won't feel anything and you won't even know that anything happened to you. You'll just be gone.
Everything just was, and now it was not. And that's it.
Yep.
So
it's not good. It's not bad. It just is.
Yep. Time has shown us that the universe is indifferent. It does not care about you.
Oh yeah.
As an individual.
Oh yeah. That ain't shit. Yeah.
It don't even care about the little ball of dirt that you live on.
Yeah.
In the cosmos of time, Even the planet Earth isn't a fart in the wind.
No, 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 no. Yep. That's pretty much how I feel about this whole episode right now.
Pretty much.
I mean, ultimately, I think time travel is possible, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, at the moment it's anorexic thin, but someday it may become.
But that's not to
more
say.
obese.
But that's not to say that it doesn't happen at some point in the future, and those people who figured it out are traveling back to our time.
Well, some of those people may have ended up there by accident. They could have stepped into some weird fucking portal and just glitched out of this time and showed up in a different time.
I think it's a possibility. If you go into the future, I think you're following your timeline. But if you travel into the past, you probably go into an alternate timeline or
Well,
random
if you're
timeline.
traveling into the future, if you're only following your timeline, then you can only go as far as your timeline goes, which would lead people to believe that there's some grand plan of when you die.
No, but I mean, I'm talking about the timeline of this universe.
Yeah,
In this
possibly.
dimension. You can go as far forward as this dimension exists, not necessarily you yourself as an individual.
I'd like to go back in time and figure out, like go back like 2.5 billion years, for instance, and see who was here that left those metallic spherical balls with the groove around the center of them,
Or the
and see
giant
who left those here.
or the giant footprints molded into the sides of fucking rock faces.
Or go back far enough to see who actually built the Sphinx, because it appears to be far older than anything else around it.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want to go back in time to interfere. Like I would want to go back in time just to be a fly on the wall. Just where
Exactly. I'd want to observe.
What I mean? Like the Battle of Thermopylae. I would like to go back and see what actually happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be fucking awesome.
See what the truth is, not the manipulated story that is passed down.
I mean, maybe just hand Leonidas an AK-47 and just be like, "Oops."
Hand all 300 of them AKs.
You know, right? And like all the ammo they can handle. The Persian army would have been decimated.
Yeah, right. 300 guys could carry enough bullets to kill probably every Persian soldier they had.
We're talking what, 30,000 rounds per man? I don't think the weapons would fire that long.
Yeah.
Without stopping to clean them, at least.
Oh no, AKs will shoot forever. Those fucking things will go.
Yeah, but
I wouldn't bring back ARs.
You got to remember, chambers and barrels are only good for a certain amount of rounds before they got to be switched out. I mean, it's the same with our weapons and AKs. I mean, it's all the same. Stress is stress, and then also the barrels heat up when you shoot; they get hot. So, yeah, I don't think they'd be able to fire enough rounds quickly enough to stop the Persians.
Yeah, maybe, but
yeah,
they drop enough Persians fast enough, probably scare them to run away, and they have time to change up. Set them up with some 50 cals and tripods. Shit.
So
could you imagine shooting, have 4 or 5 50 cals there up on the rocks and shooting through, a mass of a Persian mob? Or not even just Persian, like the way armies fought back then, and they're charging, like 150 cal bullet probably go through freaking 8 people. Like,
yeah, most likely. So, like, on the fat scale, Ronnie, time travel. What do you got?
I'd say it's fairly in shape. It's somewhere in the middle. It's plausible.
Well, I mean, on paper, theoretically, it's possible, but you know, well, I mean, it definitely can happen on paper. So, I mean, it's 2-ton Tony on paper, but in practice, I mean, because time travel is possible on both fields of physics, quantum physics and relativity. So it's possible on both sides. So, I'd say it's 2-ton Tony on paper, but, producing enough speed / energy / whatever to actually make it happen.
Yeah, we're not. I mean, we're not there yet in terms of what conventional science tells us, but some people believe that the government or military industrial complex has technology that's in the realm of possibility to do all sorts of stuff, not just time travel.
That's for damn sure. I don't think our government right now on this timeline has time travel capability, but I think probably a few hundred years in the future, I'm sure it's probably there. Assuming we haven't destroyed ourselves by then.
Oh, we will. If things don't change pretty soon, we will. That's a certainty.
Yeah, and I mean the whole Great Reset thing, it actually sounds kind of prophetic now. Like, I don't think anybody's going to win this. I think the Great Reset is going to be the Great Reset of humanity. I think we're going back to the fucking Stone Age.
We're on the march right into an Orwellian nightmare.
No, but I'm saying I think that we're going to be reduced in population to the point where we're endangered, and we're going to be back in the hunter-gatherer stage.
Very possible.
I think we're going to have a great reset of humanity here in the very near future.
I believe that could happen. Because there isn't enough of us standing up and doing anything about it or talking about it and making people aware. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, what can you do? It is what it is.
because knowing is half the battle, right?
Yep. As long as our bloodline survives, I'm fine. Let's do it.
Chances are it won't. But
Stop being so pessimistic, Ronnie. We come from hardy stock, so
yeah,
get it done.
yeah, we come from American stock. We've survived serious shit in
Yep,
the past.
have indeed. Oh, I'm tired. All right, so you can find us on Instagram at SBB Pod. You can hit us up on the DMs there. You can find our email is supernaturalbeerbros at gmail.com, and we're on YouTube as well, which I haven't posted the last couple episodes on there. Don't really know why. I guess I just got lazy, but I haven't posted them on there. But I will, including this one. So I got 3. I actually got 3 to post on there, including this one. So those will be up here in the next day or two.
Well, you're right on top of it.
Nah, dude, I've been fucking busy, dude. And I've been sick. I've been sick since Tuesday. And it's already, in another hour, it'll be fucking Sunday. So I'm still sick.
2:00 in the morning here, Andy.
Yeah.
I gotta go to bed.
What are you worried about? You're not working anymore. You're good.
Doesn't matter. I got Layla. She's gonna have me up at friggin' 7:30.
Yeah, tell her to shut up and go back to sleep. That's all. So I tell my kids, leave me alone. Anyways, so this has been the Supernatural Beer Bros podcast. Me and Ronnie are, and Ben. Ben's not here anymore, but yeah, we're signing out.